Hi, I'm Dr. Jeremy Thompson. In some of the last videos we talked about how some people see themselves from the mixed bag concept and this new, better way that people can look at themselves that I call positive-centered psychology. In this video we're going to focus on relationships. Why do some people have bad relationships? What are they actually doing? And how can you learn to have better relationships by learning the things that I'm going to teach you today? So why do we find it so hard to make our relationships work? Well, often what will happen is that initially, say this is another person up here and this might be you down here. And the first thing is you make a connect with somebody. You might see that they have a particular positive quality in them that you like. For example, just say that they've got an interest in music and you happen to have an interest in music yourself. So you straight away have a bit of a connect with that person's interest in music. And if that's something that you share and you talk about, and then if they're connecting with you and your interest, then you've got a good channel there of positive energy going between the two of you and you're off to a good start. Then you might notice something else about that person that you like. For example, just say that they've got this positive interest in the outdoor life and maybe, for example, they really like cycling. And it just happens that that's one of your interests in life as well. And so here you have another connect. You're interested in their cycling and perhaps the two of you go out cycling together under the beautiful blue sky. And so you've got a nice element in common. Then you find out this person likes going to the movies. They've got that positive interest there and so do you. And so this connects with you and so things are looking pretty good. You've got three completely different areas of interest and you can already feel that you're developing a good friendship with this person. But now just say things have been going well, but now this person actually is not all perfect, of course. They're actually a little bit overcritical and they like to give advice. And that happens to be one of their negatives. And it turns out that one of your negatives is that you're a little bit oversensitive to criticism. Perhaps you had overly critical parents when you were a kid or something, so you got that negative. Now, unfortunately, these two don't go too well together, and now you've got a negative thing happening there. So the lifts that you were getting from the positives are now come down a little notch there. Perhaps this arouses another negative in you. Maybe you've got a tendency to get a little bit angry. This person might actually not like conflicts. So now you've got a negative thing happening there, and so your friendship was great, now it's turned a little bit sour. But things might turn around and suddenly you might say, let's get together and play some music, and then you find that your relationship's picking up again. And you learn more and more about each other, but your relationship tends to be a little bit up and down and you're never quite sure where you're at with that person. So it's hard to have a really steady and solid relationship that will last through the years and be free of a lot of friction. Now, another thing that can happen with people quite easily is that sometimes you find that there's just a few too many negatives in a person. There's just a few too many of them and it all starts to be a little bit too much. And then you start to judge the whole person. And you might say, oh my God, they are a terrible person. They are awful. And sometimes, and I don't know if you've ever noticed this, people might make judgments about you. They might, you might have done something and they don't like it. And based on that one thing that you've done, they tend to judge you as a whole person. And then they'll have nothing to do with you anymore, which is very frustrating because you know within yourself that you have got a lot of good to give people and to give the community. Now, have you ever noticed that some people become very black or white in their thinking? And when they see a few too many negatives, it's if the whole... It's as if the whole picture of the person has changed. They judge, they label the person, they put them into a box, they give them a great big negative here, and they might say, that person is arrogant, he's a pig, he's a racist, he's selfish, he's a loser. And the whole person is judged. There's no room for anything else there, just one big black minus. And of course, if you feel that way yourself about anyone, it's impossible for you to have a relationship with them. People in that situation feel, well, I'm just going to have nothing to do with them ever again. Or of course they may feel that they have a right in themselves to really severely punish that person, even try and kill them. And we see enough of that going on in the world, don't we? So why do people have bad relationships? Because Instead of focusing on a person's positive qualities and forming identifications with those parts of another person so that you can build supportive and optimistic relationships, people start focusing more on the negatives. And the negatives build and build together until all they can see is one big minus. And that's what makes it so hard for some of our relationships to work. So you can see that there are many, many problems with this way of trying to see yourself and see other people and try and make relationships happen with them. So let's forget all of that for a while. Let's now move on to what I call the positive centered approach. And I'll just show you how that can work. Just give me a moment just to write some of this down. Okay, so let me just show you what this means. Now, we talked about this mixed bag concept, where we tend to recognise that we have these positive talents and interests, such as the musical abilities and the interest in the outdoors and all the things that we like in life and that we're interested in, so on. But unfortunately mixed up with some of our sensitivities, our self-doubts, some of our negative behaviours that we've picked up in our life. Now, from the positive centred approach, the positive talents, it's best to see those that these are really part of a core part of who we are. They're actually born into our system. They're something that's in our inherent genetic makeup. As a small child and as we grow into life, we discover these things that we enjoy in life and things that we're actually talented at, things that we happen to be naturally good at. These are the positive attributes that make up the basis of who we are as a person. And you can see there's the same number of positives in this diagram here as what we would have over there. And the negatives, these are things that we picked up in our life, unfortunately, perhaps due to the way we were brought up and the way society treated us and some of the good and bad things that happened to us in life and the effects that they had on our thinking. But we see those on the side there, and that one of our major jobs in life is to try and identify with ourselves that this is who we truly are. This is the part of us that we want to make our actions come from. And this might be another person, and it's the same thing. Their positives are over here, and the negatives, we see them over there. Now, using this model when you try and make your relationships with people work, you can see that it's actually a lot easier. We still have this process where we're trying to connect the things that we like with another person's positives, so we'll still have these connections such as the musical interests and the interest in going to the movies, the interest in cycling, all these outdoor things. And there may be some specific interests. Perhaps this person here has an interest in history and reading old books or something like that. This person here may not have that interest at all, but this person's quite free to pursue that interest, but maintain the bonds that they have in common with this other person here. And they of course will have a few of their own separate interests and values and beliefs about various parts of life, which they might be quite different on the other. Sometimes people might have, for example, very different political views, could even be very different religious views, and so they might have a few different areas of positive thinking, but nonetheless they connect in many other ways, and that forms the basis of their relationship.